you're figuring out how to build your soil. What's under your feet is the most important asset you have. I mean, if you take a teaspoon and dig it in the soil, in healthy soil, there's more microbes in a teaspoon of soil than people on the planet.
Is 2022 the year we see capital rotation out of risk assets like crypto and stocks, jumping into safe haven assets like gold? Gold investors haven't been losing sleep over the stock market's taper tantrum, with Blackstone warning of a lost decade, quote unquote, where stock market returns are anemic. We have Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo all forecasting gold over $2,000 an ounce in 2022, and Bloomberg says there's the potential for $3,000 per ounce on their price targets. Learn how simple it is to add physical gold and silver to your portfolio ahead of the rise in inflation and predicted price rises. Patriot Gold Group has the no fee for life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold and silver. Call 1-800-356-4470 and get a free investor guide today. And with the knowledge that Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold IRA dealer from 2016 to present, click on the link in the description box below for more information. And now on with the video. Had so much positive feedback last time Keith Snow and myself talked. Food prices continuing, inflation not being transitory, a lot of things disappearing out of, let's say, the shelves that we're seeing across supermarkets. Just our availability for foods is going to, change a little bit. So, Keith, I appreciate you joining me today. I know there's a lot to talk about.
If you live in an area that has deciduous trees, like Tennessee, for instance, the amount of leaves that fall down, that's amazing free resources, and we need to start thinking like that. So you take those leaves, and a lot of times, maybe there's somebody that doesn't want the leaves, like an older person, whatever, they don't want leaves. But if you save those leaves, those are nutrients. What about if you live in an area, again, with a lot of above ground power lines and a lot of big trees, you're constantly going to have tree services and utilities chipping up those branches because they want to keep those free. That they have so much of that stuff, they don't know what to do with it. So again, make relationships with these people. Find out how you let them know, hey, you're in my neighborhood. You can come over at any time and dump that truck of mulch or wood chips or whatever it is. So it's wood chips, it's branches, leaves all ground up. That's the best quality stuff. This is the Eden gardening method. So again, covering the soil with things that rot back into the soil. They bring soil health. They keep the soil cool. They keep the moisture in. They make a habitat for microbes and mycorrhizal fungi and worms and slugs, all kinds of things. These are the type of methods that either we're going to use now or we'll be forced to use in the future. Because I don't see, unless something miraculous happens, I don't see this system, this chemical ag system and this whole big business thing. I think it's going to get more and more difficult for it to work. So people are going to do like what you did. You move back to the land. You're figuring out how to build your soil. What's under your feet is the most important asset you have. If you take a teaspoon and dig it in the soil, in healthy soil, there's more microbes in a teaspoon of soil than people on the planet. And let people digest that and think about that. There's so much life beneath your feet. If you take care of the life beneath your feet and you use it to grow food, to raise animals, you're creating the circle of life. You're controlling everything. At the end of it, you're going to have money come in because people will want the food, they'll want the fruit, they'll want the vegetables, and you're going to continue to heal your land. That's the solution to all this. In the short term, that's why I have the website, is to teach people how to not piss away so much money on other things. Buy these cheaper foods, stock your pantry, and then start doing the things that I just talked about and you talked about. Get some chickens. Chickens are amazing. The things that chickens can do, or ducks, they can give you so much. They give you eggs, they give you meat, they give you fertilizer, they can scratch up your ground, they control insects. Those are amazing creatures to have. And if you have some land, bigger ones, I mean, we used to milk Saanen dairy goats. They gave us amazing, pelletized manure. We got milk from them. This is what people will need to do. And you touched on it earlier, those older generations and the knowledge that those people have. This great experiment with technology and everything being automated and ordering food on your phone and all that, it's great while it lasts, but I don't see a huge long future for it. And eventually, I think we're all going back to the land, whether we want to or not. So learning about these things, learning about permaculture, learning about regenerative ag, understanding the cycles like you talk about. Again, put down the phone and start learning. This is critical to survival. That's just the way I feel.
Yeah, and I might also add the benefit of these tree companies. They have to pay to go take this stuff to dump it. A lot of times it'll go in, if they're not reusing it to make their own wood chips to sell at some sort of landscape wholesale place, they have to pay a fee to go get rid of that. So for you, and it's not cheap either. It's like $300 a load they need to pay to get rid of that. So think about that. If you're a business owner and you got somebody down the street or in a vicinity, they will drive 15 miles out of their way to go save $300 or even $600 or $900 through the day or the week by taking that little bit of extra out of the way, knowing that they could leave all that on your property. It's landfill is way, way more expensive. And people who have top fill dirt, that's actually top fill from like maybe a place that they're grading out, to take any of that sort of fill away and put it somewhere else, there's also a fee with that. So that you started getting thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of fees per month of these people just trying to get rid of their grass, wood chips, and top fill. So by offering them that, they're kicking off their bottom line too, and they're very, very happy to go a little bit out of their way to bring it to you because then they don't have that expense to run. And if they get a very reliable place where they can, put it all the time, then you might have something there, because the loads are getting a little bit thinner. I mean, right now with all the ice storms, these are the kind of branches you want right now, chipped up without the leaves. So then you can get that kind of soil builder stuff where it'll really start to break apart at the bottom of the pile, where it gets into that real almost silk thin fibers. You pull from the bottom and then it just keeps decomposing off the top there. And, we are going to have to think a different way. So hopefully everybody has their own method. And Keith, I appreciate you spending your time today and, showing us and thinking about different ideas on sustainability, saving some money in the kitchen, reusing what we have. And, this is the way our grandparents thought. So we're not reinventing the wheel here. We're reinventing the 1930s again and bringing it to the present day. Because back then, that's what everybody did, pretty much. I mean, the cities were small in comparison to what they are today. Imagine 1920 Atlanta, Georgia, 1920 Nashville. I mean, 1920 New York. Yeah, it was big, but it wasn't all that. And as soon as you left those cities, it was pretty much 100% farms as far as everything stretched to the next quote unquote big city. But even Miami was just kicking off in 1920. It wasn't anything. It was a vacation resort for the rich that just started to grow. So any of these, giant cities that you see now, they were not what you thought they were comparatively to 100 years ago. So we're just going to take a little step back in the past and we're going to relive it again. And bigger cities are going to empty out. You can see that breath. It's almost like a breath of civilization. Everybody came from the farms into the cities, and now it's going to be the exhale. Everybody's going to roll back to the farms again, back to nature if they can. The people who are in the cities will be tightly controlled for sure, and not really an existence I would prefer if I have a choice. And I do. So do you. Everybody does. So anyway, Keith, appreciate you coming. Any last thoughts to kick us off with here? Oh, and tell everybody where we can go again, in case you're just dropping in on the interview right now and you're like, yeah, those guys have some interesting points there.
Start putting some of these things into practice. But do check that out and do start thinking the way, David and I have been talking, and this is going to help you live a better life and build some security. But initially, you need to get your pantry stocked. You need food for security. And then once you have that, you can start working on trading and finding local resources and doing some of the things that we're talking about. But I just hope everyone will understand that this is important, take some steps, and continue paying attention to really what matters. But that's it. Anybody wants to reach me, they can reach out. Food storage feast at protonmail.com. Happy to answer any questions. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And the only reason I do it is for, myself. Is it selfish? Maybe, because I want other people to be more prepared too, because if we're all more prepared, then my life will be better, your life will be better. So I'm looking at it sort of in a community type of setting, sharing, but also, as a self, and I wouldn't say self, but is it too selfish to think that way? That I want other people to be prepared so I can have a better life and you can have a better life. It does boil back down to the I, doesn't it? But anyway, so that's why I do the research and information, because I think we're at that time and it's time for us to move forward. So anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now.